Here goes another episode. This one's about first responders. So I wrote down different first responders, and I'm just going to maybe they're not all first responders. Maybe some of them are second responders. But people that work in the emergency fields and deal with your bullshit all the time. And by you, I mean mine too. We'll start with cops. So cops went through a pretty rough phase the last 5 or 6 years. Not that some of them didn't earn it, but I've never been a huge fan of cops as an idea until I stopped breaking the law so much. And then a lot changed. Back when I was breaking the law way more, I was way more concerned about cops. Now that I essentially almost never break the law, cops seem to be okay with me. That's part of it. So I'm not saying everybody that hates cops is a criminal, but the idea of cops versus civilians is crazy. It should be cops and civilians as a team versus criminals. And not versus the criminals that are doing some shit like selling a counterfeit Louis bag. Who gives a fuck? I'm talking about the people that are breaking into your house, the people that are stealing your change out of your car and breaking your window and doing $500 worth of damage to get $16 in quarters. Those people, maybe the cops won't help you get them, but we need cops or there'd be a lot more of those people. So cops are really interesting, but on an individual basis, I've met a lot of cops I like and a lot of cops I don't like. I've had some terrible experiences with the cops. I was once charged with a felony because a cop was having a bad day. I did not commit the felony. It got thrown out really fast. Didn't go to trial, wasn't a huge deal, but like, I thought I was going to fucking prison because a cop had a bad day. And turns out that cop was just a fucking douchebag. And the thing is, like, it put a sour taste in my mouth with cops for a while. I was like, man, fucking cops. And I realized that's the same thing as every other prejudice we've ever fucking had. It's really unfair to everybody to go, oh, a bad cop or a few bad cops made my life harder. Now all cops suck. Because for every cop that sucks, there's probably 20 that are neutral. And then 1 or 2 that are really good. And I mean really good. Like, I've met some phenomenal police officers in my life. And it's weird. Like, think of it like this. If you walk around saying things like, I hate cops, fuck the police, ACAB or ACAB or whatever they're saying, getting tattoos. Dude, people get fucking tattoos that say ACAB. All cops are bad. Like, that's insane to say anything are bad except Nazis. I think that's fair, and I don't mean what people call Nazis now. I mean real Nazis. And I bet there were some nice Nazis. I'm not saying they were good people, but I bet there were some that were relatively polite as they were doing what they were doing. I bet there were some that actually let a few guys go, Not saying they're good people, but the point is the idea that we're going to make a blanket statement and say all cops are bad is fucking nuts. So you're going, okay, a group of people that at least half of them, it's just a job, and then at least 20% of them are passionately trying to improve the world. Maybe they really can't. Like, I met a cop one time that I was actually tattooing this guy, and I asked him, or actually I think my apprentice at the time asked him, like, what made you want to become a cop? And he goes, honestly, dude, I just wanted to help people. And we both looked at each other like, oh shit, this guy doesn't know reality. But they do help people sometimes. They just don't get to as much as other shit. And yes, it sucks when you get a ticket because you were going 8 over and they set up a speed trap where the speed limit goes down from 65 to 55 to 45. But it's kind of a game that city or that state is playing to try to get your money. It's not necessarily them. They're kind of the middleman. Like, they get assignments. They get told, hey, go write tickets. And yes, it's at officer discretion most of the time, and they won't get in trouble. But if they're trying to do their best at their job and their boss says, hey, go write speeding tickets on Rogers Lane, they're going to go write speeding tickets on Rogers Lane. But just, I don't know, man. I mean, I've had enough bad instances with cops where I should also be pretty sour about cops, and I'm just not. I tattoo so many good people that are cops. And some of the nicest people I've ever worked with are cops. That being said, I've also met a few that I fucking wouldn't be sad if something happened to them, if you know what I'm saying. But that's everybody. So when you say all cops are bad, it's the same exact thing with one tiny exception as racism. The difference is people can't choose their race. People can choose to be a cop. Other than that, it's the same thing. So let's say you heard somebody say all cashiers are bad. That doesn't even make sense. They're just doing their job, right? Some of them are good at it, some of them are bad at it. All cashiers are human. So why would you say all cashiers are bad? Because you had 4 or 5 cashiers that were absolute assholes? Well, guess what? I've dealt with more asshole cashiers than I have asshole cops. I've also dealt with more nice cashiers than nice cops. I've also got more free coffee from cashiers at gas stations at 2 in the morning than I've ever gotten from a cop. So if you want to fucking go, you could do it all day. You could say all hotel maintenance workers are bad. Who gives a shit? You don't know enough hotel maintenance workers. But it's the same idea as saying all gay people are bad or whatever. Like the really religious people that, now I'm not saying gay is a choice and cops not a choice. Like, let's not start that argument, because I've met some gay dudes. I'm pretty sure they did not choose that shit. I've met gay dudes that were like, I didn't want to do it, but boy, I love me some balls. And I'm like, all right. Balls are gross, but it's okay. We have different tastes. It's cool. But there's groups of people out there that believe that they're just insane, that gay people are all going to hell or gay people are bad or whatever because of something they read in the Bible. Those same people also do stuff that the Bible says not to do on a daily basis. Like, I don't think anybody, if I've never read the whole Bible, but I bet if you read the whole Bible, I don't think anybody is not, I don't know how to word that. Everybody's going to hell if that's how we're doing it. If we're doing, you did something the Bible says not to do, repeatedly, you go to hell, then everybody's going to hell. And I don't actually know that the Bible says not to be gay. It doesn't, like, from a Bible standpoint, biblical stuff, it would make sense that they would say we want people to procreate. So there might be some rules in there about recreationally doing the nasty. And there's not been a recorded case at this point of 2 men getting each other pregnant that I'm aware of. So I understand how there would be a utility in saying it's good to be straight and bad to be gay 2,000 years ago. Now we have plenty of people. If some dude has the urge or the inkling to make love to a man, I don't give a fuck. That being said, I don't want to watch, but I don't want to watch fat people fuck either. And if I got to pick a group of people that is pretty, I see more good-looking gay dudes than I do good-looking fat dudes. So it is what it is. I've seen some good-looking fat gay dudes. We had one at the shop the other day. Okay, so that's cops. Got a little bit off on the gays. Got off on the gays. Get it? Boom. Okay, killing it. Firemen. I love firemen, dude. They're so fucking cool, generally speaking. I've met a few douchebag firemen, but firemen are cool as fuck. I get along with firemen so well. I've tried to do several like benefits for firemen. It's a little harder than you would think to organize a charity benefit, so I'm not quite there yet. But that reminds me, after this episode, I will text a friend about that. People love firemen. Okay, just in general, people tend to love firemen. Firemen, on average, look like and act like cops, generally speaking. Don't take that the wrong way, firemen. I like you. But mustaches are common. Being slightly overweight is common. Being in really good shape is also common. That's true with both. So when people are like, oh, firemen are hot because they have a uniform and a big hose. Well, first off, their hose is not their penis. Don't worry about that. That's not their hose. That's the fire department's hose. Second, firemen and cops are not the same thing, but like, we pay taxes to have some people that help us when things go wrong. The difference is firemen, it's very cut and dry. It's very, this caught on fire, we put it out. It's one thing mostly. I mean, they do a lot of other stuff too. They're paramedics. They're at car wrecks helping get people out. They do a lot of stuff. I'm not saying it's one thing, but that's what you see and think of as a fireman, generally speaking, I believe, is we have problem, fireman solve problem, okay? With cops, they write you tickets. So you go, ooh, don't like that. With cops and firemen, if they show up 30 minutes after your problem, you're a little upset. That being said, if it's a fire, the fire's still going on, so they can still stop it from spreading. where the crime already occurred and the people are already gone. So now they can just take information down. So there's a few things there, but cops and firemen are essentially the same thing in a loose idea of they're supposed to help us. We pay taxes to get them to do that. And we all agree we're going to hope they do their best, and we're going to hope that the people in charge of hiring and training are doing their best. And occasionally you're going to get a shitty one. Like, I've seen some really fat firemen that definitely can't do anything helpful that are very nice guys. And I've seen the same with cops. And then I've seen the firemen that are in really good shape that go, that's the dude I want fucking running in my house, hosing shit off, grabbing my dog, throwing it out the fucking window, landing on the trampoline or whatever the thing is. But the whole idea that everybody goes, man, firemen are so cool. Maybe it's because cops got the reputation for donuts and being fat, but that's really common with firemen too. Or maybe it's because firemen have a calendar where they're posing and they're holding an axe and they're all greased up and have a six-pack. You know how many cops I know that have a fucking six-pack? It's a lot. Most of the cops that I tattoo are in incredibly good shape. I mean, like, to a point where you're like, dude, you got to get a new uniform. You're fucking busting out of that bitch. I don't know where they get bulletproof vests that cover their pecs. These motherfuckers got pecs, like, they probably got to get a ladies one to get the fuck, because they got fucking titties. These motherfuckers, these cops are bench pressing 350 a fucking million times over and getting these monster pecs. Their shoulders are half the size of their head. And yet maybe it slows them down a little bit because their cardio doesn't do as good because their muscles are so big and heavy. But when they get shot, that shit might bounce off. I don't know. I've tattooed some fucking shoulders of some cops and been like, dude, I don't even have to stretch the skin. It's all tight and shit because they're keeping it tight. The firemen I've tattooed are usually in decent shape too, but not like that. So there's that. And then nurses. I wrote down these are three things I wanted to talk about. Nurses and EMTs are also like really interesting people, so we'll talk about them too. We'll go nurses first, then EMTs. Maybe we'll mix it. I'm very disorganized. So nurses, this is from tattooing mostly, but I think nurses are some of the coolest people I've ever fucking met, generally speaking. But they have a lot in common too. Like, normally they're a little crazy. Sometimes they're a little bit wild and like to explore their sexuality. They almost always have a good but dark sense of humor. And I mean, I don't mean they laugh at everything. I mean, if it's funny, they laugh. They get funny. They say funny shit. They don't get easily offended. That's pretty universal. The other thing is, almost every nurse I've ever tattooed has told me how to murder somebody. I'm not going to tell you, but it's crazy. They're like, you want to know the best way to murder somebody, not get caught? And I'm like, no, I'm good. They almost all tell me the same thing, and it is a fucking smart way to do it. That's why I'm not going to tell you. But if you ever decide to do that, if you ask a nurse, they will probably help you, and I don't think that's good. That's one negative about nurses. That being said, they're pretty darn cool people. I like tattooing them. They always show up on time. They always look a little sleepy because they work fucking 18, 12-hour shifts in a week or something crazy. I don't even know if there's 18 sets of 12 in a week, but there should be. 7 and 7 is 14. There's not, but it's cool. They work 96 12-hour shifts per day. I don't know how the fuck they do it. I got this one client that's a flight nurse, and she works in the ER. She's cool as fuck. She's a little bit older than me. I'd say probably 50. She works really fucking hard. She has a cool car, and she likes her job. And she's on a helicopter half the time and in the ER half the time, and she's just cool as fuck. I really like her. I like people like that. I like people that do brave shit, that do hard shit. That's kind of what drives them. And then EMTs they're their own thing. Like, all the people that I tattoo that work on ambulances, they're fucking wild, man. Like, first off, I have a friend that's a tattoo artist and EMT. He's not an EMT for the money. He does not need the money. He has a very successful shop. He makes more money tattooing than he possibly could by being an EMT. But he likes the action. So he works on an ambulance in Lawton, and he lives out of town. And he comes to Lawton, I think 1 or 2 days a week to just to fucking go, put people on stretchers and give them Narcan and give them ketamine and CPR or whatever. He's insane. He's like, well, I like gunshot wounds. I'm like, you're fucking nuts. They're always a little crazy, but they're always super cool. And I don't mean crazy in a bad way at all. I mean, we need those fucking people so bad. We need more of those people. People that are a little wild, that are willing to use their wild to help people and save people and do important things like run into a burning building or fucking save your grandma because she fell and broke her hip or arrest the guy that's breaking into your house right now. Like, can you imagine, back to cops, can you imagine if your job was to fucking go out behind somebody's house with a flashlight and a gun because somebody's possibly hiding in the camper or the fucking shed or something, and you know that guy's probably got a gun too, and he can see you coming, and you have to look for him, and you know he's eventually gonna fucking pop one off at you, and you just have to be ready for that shit. Dude, I get nervous whenever something fucking wind blows my shutters outside at 2 in the morning, and I gotta walk down and just fucking, you know, pop out with that pistol on me, go hunting around the house. One time my fucking back door got opened. We have an alarm system at my house, and we had a sliding back door at the time. Now we have like a steel door that closes. It's a little more secure, but we had a sliding glass door, and somebody got into my backyard and tried to open the door. Now we found out the next day that there was a guy that had escaped from prison here that was on the run. So I'm guessing that's the guy. But somebody opened my back door, but it had the stick in it. So they just were able to, like, you can kind of on those locks, like, push them up and slide really hard and it'll pop the lock off. And they pushed it and slid it, and they got it to jar open a little bit. And you could see it was clearly forced open. It wasn't like some wind blew it type shit. But the stick saved us, thank God. But I didn't know that had happened. I just knew my alarm went off, and my alarm screaming the loud meh, 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 and going, back door. I got my Glock 23, clack, clack that shit back. The amount of fucking adrenaline and nerves I was experiencing is insane. I go down my hallway with a flashlight and a gun very, very slowly. And I pop around the corner and see that nobody's at the back door, and the back door had been jarred open. And I back up, and I get to an angle where if there was somebody in my backyard, I'd be able to kind of see them. And then I go touch the door, see if I can get it to fall back in place, and see if I can figure out what happened while still holding the gun pointed outside. And then it looks like everything's cool, so I answer my alarm, tell them that it looks like everything's okay, probably no need for police. And then we found out the next morning that there was a dude on the run across the highway from here, was the last place he was seen, and that's like a half mile. And if I was running from the cops, I would definitely fucking cross the highway under the bridge and then come up through the field, because that would be the sneakiest place to hide. But I wouldn't have been trying to break into people's fucking houses. I would have been hiding out in the woods where they're just not going to find you. Like, they're just not. Cops aren't walking a half mile for that shit. Unless you're a murderer or something, which he probably was, I don't know. But that's probably how cops feel twice a week. Just, dude, I could not fucking do that job. It's crazy. EMT, you show up, some dude's blue and fucking barely responsive, and you're supposed to save him, and then you gotta blow in his mouth and push on him, and then he throws up all over you, or you hit somebody with Narcan and they come at you swinging. I don't know if you know about this, but if somebody's overdosing on opioids, and you give them Narcan, they get mad. Like, they come out swinging. They pop back to life and try to beat the shit out of you a lot. These are just things that people do as a job that pays normal wages. So next time you say, fuck the police, or, oh, that nurse sucks, or I don't give a fuck, think about where they're coming from and how hard of a job it is to be a first responder, and shut the fuck up, dude. Those jobs are incredibly hard, incredibly scary, and the people that do them are, most of the time, brave individuals, and we need those people. So if you're anti-cop, in my opinion, you're kind of ignorant. That's just me, okay? Have a good day.